Alright, I've never heard this spoken about anywhere. Um, so I'm just going to tell you what I see. I don't know if how legitimate it is. Nobody's ever mentioned it though, so I figure somebody should say something. Everybody knows Elijah must come first, right? Malachi, behold, I'm going to send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and terrible day of the Lord. He will restore the hearts of the fathers to their children and the hearts of the children to their fathers, so that I will not come and smite the land with a curse. Up on the mountain, Matthew 17, the disciples asked Jesus, "Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" And he answered and said, "Elijah is coming and will restore all things. But I say to you that Elijah already came, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they wished. So also the Son of Man is going to suffer at their hands." Then the disciples understood that he had spoken to them about John the Baptist. And you go to Mark 9. They asked him, saying, "Why is it that the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" And he said to them, "Elijah does first come and restore all things. And yet how is it written of the Son of Man that he will suffer many things and be treated with contempt? But I say to you that Elijah has indeed come, and they did to him whatever they wished, just as it is written of him." You know, it seems kind of hard to understand at first that Elijah did come, but he will come, until you think of Jesus in the same sense. Jesus did come, but he will come. Jesus seems to be explaining that, well, we got the suffering part going on right now, and we'll get to the reigning part later, and Elijah's going to come again later, just like the Son of Man is going to come again later. They go together. Here's the part that nobody ever talks about. I don't know how it's going to go down. What I do know is that there's some messed up stuff going on. Revelation 13. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. He exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose fatal wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given to him to perform in the presence of the beast. 2 Kings 1. Then the king sent to him a captain of 50 with his 50. And he went up to him, and behold, he was sitting on top of the hill. And he said to him, "O man of God, the king says, come down." Elijah replied to the captain of 50, "If I am a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. Then fire came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. The beast, this false prophet beast, performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men, just like Elijah did. 1 Kings 18. Elijah said to all the people, "Come near to me." So all the people came near to him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord which had been torn down. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, "Israel shall be your name." So with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench around the altar, large enough to hold 2 measures of seed. This is important. Remember the details, because this may very well play out completely in the end time. On the opposite side. Then he arranged the wood and cut the ox in pieces and laid it on the wood, and he said, "Fill 4 pitchers with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood." And he said, "Do it a second time." And they did it a second time. And he said, "Do it a third time." And they did it a third time. The water flowed around the altar, and he also filled the trench with water. At the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, Elijah the prophet came near and said, "O Lord God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and I have done all these things at your word. Answer me, O Lord, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Lord, are God, and that you have turned their heart back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell, and consumed the burnt offering, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. When all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." Then Elijah said to them, "Seize the prophets of Baal, do not let one of them escape." So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon, and slew them there. Can you imagine a scenario where this happens on the other side, on the evil side? Imagine that for a second. Dude shows up, false prophet, calls fire down from heaven to prove that he is of God, that he's a man of God. And he speaks for the beast, who apparently is not too active in all of this. He's more of a figurehead than anything else. And the dude looks just like Elijah. All he has to do is bring that down as proof that he is of God, and everyone will believe him, because he's all he's got to do is do that and say, see, I did exactly what happened in the Bible last time. And you've got this problem where every Abrahamic religion is waiting for Elijah. Did you know that? I didn't know that till just like a couple months ago. Looking at teachings from these three religions, everybody's waiting for Elijah. Why is everybody waiting for Elijah? Everybody's waiting for the good version of what's coming, but the bad version is going to look good, is the part that's so deceiving about all this. Second Thessalonians 2. Talking about the man of lawlessness, that is, the one whose coming is in accord with the activity of Satan, with all power and signs and false wonders, and with all the deception of wickedness for those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth so as to be saved. For this reason God will send upon them a deluding influence, so that they will believe what is false, in order that they all may be judged, who did not believe the truth, but took pleasure in wickedness. You understand what's happening here? Funny thing was shown to me the other day. I hadn't paid too much attention to it because, well, I understood from all the other million warnings that it's important to learn what's going to happen at the end. But here in Mark, we always go to Matthew, it's the first one we hit, and we never bother going to Mark. But when you get into Mark, the language is a little bit different with after the tribulation, okay, right? Tribulation comes first. Go read that. Then, after that, unless the Lord had shortened those days of the tribulation, no life would have been saved, but for the sake of the elect whom he chose, he shortened the days. And then, if anyone says to you, behold, here is the Christ, or behold, he is there, do not believe him, for false Christs and false prophets will arise and will show signs and wonders in order to lead astray, if possible, the elect. Their purpose is to lead us astray. That's the only thing they're going at. The rest of the world is sold for them already. It's like, doesn't even matter. They're coming against us, the children of God who follow Jesus Christ as the Son of God. I think we're living the deception. According to all the warnings, we're going through this thing. The whole world is set up for this strong delusion, which is good, because that means that Scripture is fulfilled. But at the same time, I don't want you to be deceived, The whole world in general, cool, but you personally, no. The more you look into it, the worse it gets. It doesn't ever get better. Like, oh, this situation is really going to get lighter. No, it's going to be worse than you could ever imagine. This whole thing is a big setup. We've been warned that the leader who comes first, the Messiah who comes first, is the Antichrist. We've been warned that his false prophet looks just like Elijah. You know what's interesting though? The whole world is completely set up right now. They're waiting for Jesus to come first, for the Messiah, the true Messiah, to come first. And they're waiting for Elijah to come first. We haven't loved the truth. We haven't been listening to what Scripture says. You look at 2 Thessalonians 2. What does it say? It says that Jesus and the rapture are not happening until the apostasy and the men of lawlessness come. Why is everybody teaching that Jesus is coming before the apostasy and the man of lawlessness? How messed up is this? Right now you are saying that no great tribulation for us because Jesus is coming first. So when the man of lawlessness comes, who looks exactly like the Messiah, you are going to go, oh, there's the Messiah, and you're going to run into his arms. When everybody who's waiting for Elijah to come first sees a false prophet named Elijah who does the exact same things that Elijah does to prove that he is Elijah, everybody's going to go running to him. Oh, there's the true prophet. It's a setup. We've been set up. What's interesting is I can tell you that, and you're still going to go do it because you don't love the truth. That's what's so messed up about this whole thing. It's like, man, there's nothing you can do. It's very serious. You need to study this as intensely as you possibly can because this is your eternal soul. And we know there's an apostasy coming, and somebody's got to be apostatized, you know? It's like, not everybody's sitting there going, oh, I'm not going to be deceived. Everybody else is going to be deceived. But somebody's got to be deceived. So you need to really consider who are you? Who are you? Are you God's, or are you the deceived apostate believer? But take heed, behold, I have told you everything in advance. He told us everything we need to know. Problem is, we've accepted commentaries. If you buy the commentaries, the Bible, if you can read it, tells you the truth, and this is one messed up situation.